Single for 2.5 years straight, my mother, Martha Clark, suspected I was gay and basically forced a gorgeous girl into my apartment. Looking at her stunning face, I could get used to a roommate like this. My new housemate was foisted upon me by my mom. She claimed that the daughter of a distant relative, a Mr. Davies, had just finished her college entrance exams, got accepted to the university here in the city, and wanted to spend the summer getting familiar with the area before starting. Since I'd just bought a small 2-bedroom place this year, Mom took it upon herself to volunteer my apartment for a month. She told me, as the older cousin, I had to be a good host and show her around. "Thanks so much, Mom," I thought sarcastically. Sensing my potential dissatisfaction, Mom added gently, "Look, I already promised old Davies. If you don't agree to let your cousin stay, that's fine. Worst case, Mom will just move in myself to take care of your meals and daily life." I nearly dropped to my knees and wailed. I was wrong. Let her come. After hanging up, I let out a long sigh. The last 6 months had been rough. The girlfriend I'd chased for 5 years, Vivian Sterling, finally agreed to date me, only to dump me after 6 months for some rich kid. During the day I put on a brave face, but at night I cherished having my own small space to lick my wounds. Now a stranger was being shoved into it, a cousin who was really just my mom's friend's kid. I'd only met her as a child. I had no idea what she even looked like now. Dejected, I opened the door, planning to go out for dinner, and nearly jumped out of my skin. A woman stood soaking wet outside my apartment door, staring blankly at me. My first instinct was to yell, "Who the hell are you?" But I froze, rooted to the spot, because the woman was stunningly beautiful. Fair skin, gorgeous features, long legs, easily rivaling any celebrity. I'd certainly never seen anyone so beautiful in real life. The oversized t-shirt she wore barely reached her thighs, revealing a pair of long, pale, straight legs. I wasn't sure if she'd just showered, but she was drenched. Water droplets dripped from her hair, and the white t-shirt clung to her body, hinting at the curves beneath. I almost had a nosebleed on the spot. After staring dumbly for a full minute, I finally remembered to ask, "Who are you?" She shivered slightly, looking even more pitiful. I immediately felt guilty, wondering if my questioning tone had scared her. "Vicky," she stammered, her speech a little unclear. "Victoria?" It clicked. "You must be Mr. Davies' daughter, right? You got here fast. I just hung up the phone. Did you teleport?" Then I realized, "How did you get in?" Answering my own question, I muttered, "My mom must have given you the door code, right?" She just stood there silently, blinking her long, wet lashes, gazing intently at me. I scratched my head. "Well, you can take this room." I opened the door to the spare bedroom. Turning back, I noticed she had no luggage. "Where's your stuff? Did you come empty-handed?" Seriously, talk about making yourself at home. And the t-shirt she was wearing, it looked increasingly familiar. Wasn't that my shirt? What was going on with this girl? Mom said the Davies cousin was a top student coveted by prestigious universities, but this girl, she didn't exactly look like the sharpest tool in the shed. Suddenly it hit me. "Don't tell me you lost your luggage? Got scammed? First time away from home?" Her eyes lit up and she nodded vigorously. "All right then. Even geniuses aren't immune to the complexities of the world. Okay, I'll take you out later to buy some clothes. Get some rest first." Once she was in her room, I went back to mine and flopped onto the bed, spacing out for a while. I picked up my phone and immediately saw my ex-girlfriend's latest social media post. "Thanks for the gift, darling. It'll take me to farther places." The picture showed her and Ethan Goldsmith kissing passionately in front of a brand new sports car, oblivious to the world. I quickly closed the app and tossed my phone aside, feeling a wave of disappointment. I had pursued Vivian Sterling for 5 years, loved her for 5 years. The day she agreed to be my girlfriend, I was ecstatic. I treated her with utmost care, afraid to let her suffer even the slightest discomfort. Why could she abandon me so easily? What did Ethan Goldsmith do? That notorious womanizing rich brat. He gave her some gifts I could probably never afford, and she left without a backward glance. I didn't know when they had gotten together. I didn't even know if she had ever truly liked me. I rubbed the tears from my eyes, the bitterness in my heart threatening to pull me into despair, when a rustling sound outside my door interrupted my thoughts. I sighed. What was that silly girl up to now? I got up and went out to see Victoria standing in front of my fish tank, holding a bag of fish food, raising it towards her mouth. I was about to say I'd already fed the fish today, but then I watched in horror as she tilted her head back and poured the entire bag of fish food into her mouth. I was speechless for a second, then reacted, yelling, "What are you doing?" I rushed over and snatched the bag away. She jumped back, startled, looking at me timidly. "Sincere," she said pitifully. "I'm so hungry. You can't eat, wait." She actually called me Sincere? My mind drifted for a couple of seconds before snapping back. "No, even if you're starving, you can't eat this."
"What if you get sick? Forget it, I'll take you out to eat." I took her to the mall first to buy some clothes.
When she came out of the fitting room, the sales assistant stared, her professional compliments suddenly becoming incredibly genuine. "Wow, you look absolutely amazing. That outfit looks perfect on you." I looked at us in the mirror. She was only half a head shorter than me. I'm not exactly short, about 5 feet 11 inches, so she must be at least 5 feet 9 inches. And those legs were unbelievably long. Were they even human? I paid and we left. On the way to the restaurant just a few minutes later, someone claiming to be from a talent agency approached us, asking if she was interested in becoming an entertainer. I turned to look at her. Good grief. She was pressed against the window, staring intently at someone else's spicy noodle soup, practically trying to phase through the glass. "You want this?" I quickly pulled her back. It's okay. We'll go inside and eat. Just don't headbutt the window, okay?" Was this girl really a top student? Are geniuses always a bit eccentric? When the spicy noodle soup arrived, her eyes lit up. Before I could even grab chopsticks, she plunged her hands straight into the bowl. Oh, she yanked her hand back, her face scrunching up in pain. Startled, I quickly checked her hand. "Are you crazy? Don't you know it's hot?" Thankfully, it was just a little red. I took her to the sink to run cold water over it, then handed her a pair of chopsticks. She stared at them blankly. Unbelievable. She didn't know how to use chopsticks either? What kind of book, smart but clueless about the world situation was this? I'd only heard stories online about top students going to prestigious universities and being stumped by eggs still in their shells because they'd only ever eaten peeled ones at home. Now I'd met such a marvel in person. Speechless, I picked up my chopsticks and showed her how to eat. She mimicked my actions, wrapping the chopsticks around a clump of ramen noodles, then yanked hard. I watched in horror as the clump of noodles, coated in red chili oil and sesame paste, flew straight towards the burly man at the next table. Splat, it landed precisely on his head. The air froze for 2 seconds. "Are you blind?" The man ripped the noodles off his head, stood up and walked towards us, radiating murderous intent. Just as I was figuring out how to apologize profusely enough to avoid getting beaten to death, he stopped at our table. "It was you, wasn't it? Do you have a phone number? Huh?" I was baffled. Looking up, I saw Victoria tilting her small face up, smiling sweetly at the man. The burly man stared shashadi foolishly at Victoria. The anger on his face stuck mid-expression, the corners of his mouth already starting to twitch upwards uncontrollably. He scratched his head. "Hey, beautiful, can I get your number?" The rapid shift in tone made my own mouth twitch. I quickly apologized, explaining she was just a kid, no phone, no social media, and then hurried her out of there. On the way, I bought her a burger and a Coke and sat her down on a nearby bench. After one bite, her eyes widened in astonishment, filled with the shock of tasting something utterly divine. She practically vibrated with happiness. I watched her, shaking my head. How strict were Mr. and Mrs. Davies? A simple burger could make her this happy? But watching her, I couldn't help but smile too. Is it really that good? You're easily pleased, aren't you? You'll be easy to feed. After she finished, I took her to a supermarket to buy some daily necessities. Back home, after putting things away, I noticed a puddle of water in front of the fish tank. Puzzled, I went over to check. I kept dozens of ornamental fish. They usually swam in schools except for one beautiful little pink fish, a newcomer, who was always ostracized and couldn't keep up like a little idiot. So I always paid special attention to that little fish, afraid it would be bullied. But now, I couldn't find it anywhere. "Victoria," I asked, "have you seen a little pink fish?" She came closer, her eyes shifting guiltily. "I saw it earlier. Maybe it's hiding under the seaweed." Her soft voice tickled my ear. I instinctively turned to look at her, not realizing how close she was. My turn almost made our lips brush. My heart skipped a beat. Before my brain could completely short-circuit, I quickly stood up straight and took 2 steps back. Noticing my movement, her eyes slowly dimmed, her eyelids lowered, revealing a sudden sense of loss and pity. I scratched my head, unsure what to say to ease the awkwardness. Then I remembered something. "Oh, right, I have a work gathering tonight, so I have to go out. Don't wander off by yourself while I'm gone, okay?" She nodded. "Sincere, I'll wait for you to come back." Her words sent another jolt through my heart. As I went downstairs, my mind was still racing. This girl wasn't quite all there. Was it okay to leave her alone? Could she take care of herself? She clearly couldn't cook. What would she eat for dinner? My thoughts in turmoil, I walked out of the building and couldn't help looking up at my apartment window. There, on the 5th-floor windowsill, the small, lonely, well-behaved figure of the girl Waspapa leaning, quietly watching me leave. My heart instantly melted. I turned around and went back. Seeing me return, she quickly jumped down from the windowsill and ran barefoot to the hallway entrance to meet me. Exclaiming excitedly, "Sincere, you're back," I ruffled her hair. "Come on, I'll take you with me." She froze. Her eyes filled with surprise, then broke into a huge grin, hugged me briefly, and started pulling me towards the door. I tapped her gently on the head. "Shoes on the way to the restaurant. I got a message from my buddy Gordon White. Ethan Goldsmith is here too, at another table. Want me to find you a girl to make a scene, buddy?" "Ah, forget it. I don't actually know anyone prettier than Vivian Sterling." When we arrived at the restaurant, Victoria said she needed the restroom. I pointed her in the right direction and walked a few steps further to find Gordon's table and sat down. Seeing me arrive, someone laughed. "Yo, Sincere's here. I thought you'd be too heartbroken to leave the house. Unable to go on living." I recognized the jerk. Donovan Mariner from the next apartment, Ethan Goldsmith's stooge. Ethan was the company owner's son, recently parachuted in as general manager, bringing this lackey with him and installing him in a cushy position in the neighboring department. The punk had zero ability but spent all day bossing people around. We all looked down on him but didn't dare offend him easily. After all, dealing with the minions can be harder than dealing with the boss. If it hadn't been for him acting as a go-between, Vivian would never have met Ethan Goldsmith. I ignored his comment. He looked a bit put out and started mocking me. "Hey guys, remember when Vivian left?" He was chasing the car, running and crying. He stood up, mimicking me chasing the car. Viv, how can I live without you?" He burst out laughing. Gordon couldn't stand it. "That's enough." Donovan retorted sarcastically, "What, can't take a joke?" Just as the atmosphere turned icy, a sweet, slightly timid voice called out behind me. "Sincere?" Everyone looked up and collectively entered a state of stunned, chee-me, infatuated fascination, exactly like the burly man hit by noodles earlier. Victoria ignored everyone else and sat down next to me, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, looking wronged and pitiful. "Sincere," she said, "I couldn't find you just now. I thought you'd abandoned me." Her walk-over had already captured the attention of every man in the place. With her words, I instantly felt countless daggers directed my way. Their gazes seemed to convey a single message: let me see which punk stole the goddess. Damn, it's this loser. What right does he have? Gordon was the first to snap out of it, grabbing my arm. "Dude, where did this angel come from?" "This is Victoria," I introduced. "Kid from a relative's family. 18, just finished school, got into state tech, she's a top student. Gordon stared at me, shocked. 18? Old Clark, you're a real beast. The men at the table couldn't have been more enthusiastic towards Victoria. Donovan yelled towards the entrance. Waiter, another place. Setting. Victoria suddenly looked at him. It's rude to shout like that. If you raise your hand, the waiter will see you. It was something I'd taught her at lunch. She was putting it into practice already. Seeing him not move, she prompted again. Aren't you going to raise it? The person sitting opposite Donovan couldn't hold back a snort, spraying a mouthful of wine onto Donovan's face. Donovan looked annoyed, but, after a couple of drinks, plastered on an oily grin and leaned in. Little sister, what kind of guys do you like? Victoria looked him up and down thoughtfully. I didn't know what type I liked before, she said earnestly. But after seeing you today, I know. Definitely not your type. Another round of snickers erupted from the table. Donovan's eager expression froze mid-formation. He awkwardly took another drink. Everyone secretly enjoyed seeing Donovan get shot down twice. Gordon nudged me, whispering, "This girl's something else seriously impressive. Looks, figure, needless to say, 100 times prettier than Vivian Sterling. And she only has eyes for you. Man, what kind of luck did you stumble into?" His voice dripped with envy. "Victoria's not my girlfriend," I hissed back frantically. "Don't spread rumors." Gordon looked at me with exasperation, muttering, "Look at you, you useless sap." Just then, Donovan's girlfriend returned from the restroom. Seeing her, Victoria suddenly let out a little, "Huh?" "I saw you in the restroom just now, you and that person." She turned and pointed at Ethan Goldsmith, who had also just returned to the next table. "Weren't you doing strange things?" She puckered her lips in imitation. The table fell silent. Ethan was rich and known for playing around. Plenty of women surrounded him. People had long suspected something was going on between him and Donovan's girlfriend, but no one had said anything explicit. Now it was suddenly laid bare. Donovan's face instantly turned deathly pale. Unable to maintain his composure any longer, he slammed the table, stood up, and roared, "What the hell were you doing just now?" His girlfriend panicked. "Nothing, I didn't do any." Before she could finish, Donovan roughly dragged her out, her wails echoing down the hall. The scene erupted like a pressure cooker exploding. Everyone started gossiping wildly. I knew there was something shady between them. They never looked innocent. Gordon asked Victoria, "Little sister, were they really doing that in the restroom?" Victoria nodded. Then she suddenly picked up someone's pack of cigarettes from the table, pulled one out, pursed her lips, and put it in her mouth. They were doing this. Gordon slapped his thigh, laughing hard. "Little sister, you're too much. You've never even seen smoking before. Did you time travel here or something?" Victoria's eyes widened. "How did you know?" Gordon nearly died laughing. "Where did you travel from?" "From the Pacific Ocean," Victoria answered honestly. Gordon was speechless. Seeing the chaos, I quickly grabbed Victoria and made our escape. I knew these guys couldn't keep their mouths shut, but I didn't expect the news of my new girlfriend to reach Vivian Sterling's ears so quickly. Back at the apartment complex, as we were walking inside, a stray cat suddenly darted out from the bushes, right at our feet. Victoria's face turned white. With a terrified shriek, she leaped onto me. I instinctively caught her. "It's just a cat." "Are you afraid of cats?" I asked, somewhat amused. She nodded frantically, burying herself deeper into my arms. After carrying her a few steps, my heart started to feel unsettled. I looked around. "It seems to be gone. Do you want to get down?" No, I'm scared." She shook her head vehemently. "What's so scary about a cat?" "It's not like it's going to eat you," I said. Her head practically burrowed into my neck. "Yes, it will. It'll eat me." Her nose brushed against my neck, her warm breath fanning across my skin. I couldn't even hear what she was saying anymore. My mind was consumed by one thought. How is she so fragrant, so soft? I quickly reined in my wandering thoughts. Sincere, be decent, she's your cousin. This is your cousin. Then another thought popped up, unexpectedly. Actually, there's no blood relation. I shook my head vigorously to dispel it. No way. If I dared touch my cousin, Mom would definitely twist my head off. I carried her stiffly all the way back to the apartment before she finally got down. After a long day, I told her to wash up and rest early, but I truly didn't expect her to take that long in the shower. Listening to the sounds from the bathroom, I suspected my bathtub was about to lose a layer of enamel. Was she a fish in her past life? Why did she love swimming so much? I was almost asleep by the time she finally came out. She hadn't even bothered to towel dry her hair. Water dripped down in streams, just like when I first saw her. I grabbed a towel and started drying her hair for her, then found the hairdryer and handed it to her. She looked at the hairdryer, then at me, completely bewildered. Shaking my head with a chuckle, I said, "All right, let me help you. How on earth did you grow up?" The warm air lifted strands of her hair. My fingers gently combed through the silkiness, feeling my heartbeat gradually lose control. She stood before me, so close I felt I could perceive her heartbeat and breath. She tilted her head up, looking at me, her eyes full of sweet, warm smiles, as pure as a freshly bloomed spring flower, without a trace of complexity, just overflowing joy. Her cheeks were flushed, whether from the steam or shyness I couldn't tell. She looked utterly delectable. My mouth felt dry, the temperature rising steadily amidst the white noise of the hairdryer. Just as I felt myself about to lose control, my phone suddenly rang. The shrill ringtone jolted me back to reality. I quickly turned off the hairdryer, steadied myself, and looked at my phone. Vivian Sterling. After she broke up with me, no matter how much I begged or tried to reconcile, she never responded. Now she was calling me? My heart leaped into my throat. I quickly answered. Her voice came through, cold as ice. "Well done, Sincere. Putting on that devoted act, pretending you couldn't let go or forget me, making everyone think I was the terrible one. Turns out you found a new little girlfriend right away. Smooth transition, huh?" Before I could explain, Victoria suddenly let out a soft cry. "Ouch, Sincere, you're pulling my hair." Silence on the other end for a few seconds. Living together already?" Vivian's voice sounded surprisingly, like she was grinding her teeth. "Victoria, she's my..." Before I could speak, Victoria tilted her head, leaning close. "Sincere, why did you stop?" Keep going. More silence from the phone. Then Vivian spat out viciously, "Sincere Clark calling me at a time like this? You're disgusting," and she hung up. I stared at the phone, dumbfounded. "Weren't you the one who called me?" In the past, I would have immediately called back repeatedly, desperate to explain. But this time, I felt no desire to explain at all. Victoria was quietly waiting beside me, resting her chin on her hand. Seeing me put down the phone and pick up the hairdryer again, her eyes suddenly filled with joy. "Sincere, shall we continue then?" Her warm smile was incredibly healing, soothing my heart in an inexplicable way. Suddenly, I felt that perhaps I really could let go of the past. I took some annual leave, determined to be a good host. Every day I took her around the city, visiting attractions or sometimes just staying home, binge-watching shows and playing games. What interested her most, undoubtedly, was all kinds of food. No matter what I gave her, she reacted with surprise and delight. The first time she saw a child with a lollipop, she stared until she was practically drooling. A single lollipop could make her dance with joy. For the one doing the feeding, getting such feedback was incredibly rewarding. I felt like piling all the delicious food in the world in front of her. I realized that being needed and affirmed could bring such satisfaction and confidence. Undeniably, this period was the most relaxed and stress-free time I'd had in 5 years. However, the vacation had to end. I had to go back to work. When I was leaving, she stood dejectedly at the door. "Sincere, do you have to go to work?" I laughed. "If I don't work, how will I have money to buy you delicious food?" She pouted unhappily. "But I don't eat that much." I couldn't resist poking her cheek. "That's not much? You eat so much if I don't earn more money, I won't be able to support you later." As soon as the words left my mouth, even I was slightly stunned. That sounded a bit too intimate. Thankfully, she didn't seem to overthink it, just mumbled, "Then I'll eat less from now on. No need." I patted her head, waved goodbye, and left. As soon as I got to the office, I heard that Donovan Mariner had resigned. The gossip about him had already spread throughout the company. Anyone with a shred of decency wouldn't be able to stay. Getting rid of such a nuisance unexpectedly improved everyone's attitude towards me. That was a surprising bonus. However, I found myself increasingly unable to concentrate during the day. One moment I'd be worrying if Victoria had gone out alone. She was so naive. Would someone trick her? The next, I'd worry if she'd eaten. If she knew how to use the stove, was she playing with fire? Or I'd worry, surely she hadn't drunk water from the fish tank, right? I remembered taking her out one night on the bus. She pointed out the window and exclaimed, "Ghosts, ghosts," startling the entire bus. I looked and quickly explained, "That's a streetcar, finish your sentence." For goodness sake, I really couldn't rest easy when this girl was alone. I was constantly thinking about her. When I thought about her for the 108th time that morning, I realized something was wrong with me. A sentence flashed through my mind, "Sincere, you're done for. You've fallen in love." At lunch in the cafeteria, I unexpectedly ran into Vivian Sterling. Ever since she got together with Ethan Goldsmith, she'd been promoted to director at a branch office. This was the first time I'd seen her since we broke up. She saw me too. I thought she'd ignore me, but she actually walked over. "You know about the company team building event this weekend, right? Are you bringing that little girlfriend?" Her tone made me uncomfortable. I frowned. Seeing I didn't answer, she scoffed, her tone mocking. "What, couldn't rent the same woman again to keep up appearances?" She shot me a contemptuous glance and walked past. I stood there, speechless. I didn't know what kind of person I had loved all these years. The company team building was held at a resort hotel with excellent facilities, especially the swimming pool. When Victoria walked into the pool area wearing a swimsuit, even I was stunned. How could anyone have such a perfect figure? And her skin was so fair, she almost seemed to glow. From the moment she appeared, Ethan Goldsmith's eyes never left her. A sense of crisis rose within me. I shielded her protectively, blocking Ethan's view. Who knew he'd walk straight over anyway? "I saw you at the department dinner last time," he said, his eyes practically glued to Victoria. "Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to talk to you then." "Hi, I'm Ethan Goldsmith." Seeing this, Vivian Sterling walked over from nearby. She looked Victoria up and down, her expression sour. Normally, Vivian was considered beautiful, but standing next to Victoria, her radiance was almost completely overshadowed. Naturally, she wasn't pleased. She tucked her hair back, the sapphire ring on her finger flashing brilliantly. A female colleague nearby immediately understood the cue and exclaimed, "That ring is gorgeous." Vivian smiled faintly. "Ethan gave it to me. I told him not to, but he insisted. Still, it's certainly better than some people's trashy gifts." She pulled a necklace out of her handbag and casually tossed it into the pool like garbage. I recognized it as one I had given her. She was deliberately trying to embarrass me. The colleague was still fawning. "Must have cost a fortune. Mr. Goldsmith is so generous." Vivian waved her hand dismissively. "Don't say that. Ethan's family, well, they have assets in the billions and investments in many projects, but he's very down to earth. He never talks about these things outside. He says it's all very ordinary, nothing worth mentioning." As she spoke, her eyes flickered towards Victoria, as if deliberately showing off to her. Victoria blinked, completely baffled. "So, you're saying it for him?" I heard another suppressed snort nearby. Vivian was speechless, choked up, and rolled her eyes. Ethan pursed his lips in annoyance and handed her an iced drink. "Here, drink something." She frowned disdainfully. "Don't you know I have a weak stomach? I can't drink ice things." Victoria looked regretful. "This tastes really good. What a pity. Does that mean you can only eat soft foods?" Vivian's face turned cold. "What did you say?" Ethan pulled her back slightly. "All right, Vivian, go get me a bottle of wine." After she left, Ethan beamed at Victoria. "The pool here is great. Victoria, can you swim?" Victoria nodded. "How about a race then?" he continued. "I was the youngest member of the city swim team back in the day. I was technically too young to qualify, but they made an exception because I was so fast." Victoria nodded repeatedly. "Wow, impressive, so you really are. small and fast. Someone nearby choked on their drink. Ethan, however, didn't seem to notice. Since it's a competition, it's more fun with stakes. How about this? I grabbed Victoria's arm and shook my head. But Victoria reassured me, don't worry, Sincere. I'm a very good swimmer. How could I believe her? Besides, Ethan really was a swimmer. Ethan had already set the terms. Okay, if I win, you'll have a drink with me later. How about that? Victoria smiled. And if I win, I want that ring on Vivian Sterling's hand. Quite a few people had gathered by the poolside to watch the race. I couldn't believe Ethan actually agreed to Victoria's bet. I'll give you a 10-second head start, he said confidently. Don't want people saying I'm picking on a girl. Victoria laughed. No need, just don't say I'm picking on you. The whistle blew. Ethan shot forward like an arrow, incredibly fast. Seeing his powerful strokes, everyone couldn't help but feel nervous for Victoria. Suddenly, in Victoria's lane, white waves churned violently. The splashing was so intense you couldn't see clearly inside, only a shadow moving at an unimaginable speed, effortlessly overtaking Ethan and heading straight for the other side. Ethan clearly hadn't expected this. After a moment's hesitation, he accelerated drastically. But no matter how hard he swam, he couldn't even catch up to the shadow ahead. 39 seconds, the timekeeper couldn't believe his stopwatch. Is this thing broken? The world record is 46 seconds. Victoria, smiling, rested on the pool edge, waiting for nearly half a minute before Ethan finally touched the wall, exhausted. She had won the race without a shadow of a doubt. With so many colleagues watching, Ethan couldn't possibly back out, no matter how unwilling he was. He could only ask Vivian to give him back the ring. Vivian's expression was as sour as if she'd swallowed a fly. She yanked the ring off, threw it at Ethan, and stormed off. Victoria took the ring Ethan handed her, held it up, looked at it, and then shook her head. It looked quite nice from afar, but up close, it's not that great. Much worse than this. She raised her hand and tossed the ring into the pool without a second thought. Amidst the gasps of the crowd, she suddenly reached out her hand towards me. Lying in her palm was the necklace Vivian had thrown into the pool earlier. Sincere, I like this one. Will you help me put it on? The girl's eyes were like water-washed crystals, clearly reflecting my image. Suddenly I understood. Everything she did was to stand up for me. After the race, Victoria went to change out of her swimsuit. I ordered a drink and a soda and sat at the bar waiting for her. She came over, muttering about being thirsty, picked up the glass in front of me, and drained it in one gulp. Hey, that's alcohol. I snatched the glass back only to find it empty. I looked up at her. Can you drink? As soon as I asked, she collapsed onto the bar. I rushed to support her. Her mind was already muddled. She put a finger to her lips and whispered, Shh. I can't drink. If I drink, my tail will come out. I burst out laughing. A foxtail? She retorted. Are you silly? I'm a mermaid. Why would I have a foxtail? Right, Ms. Mermaid. So tell me, how did you end up on land? Her tongue seemed a bit tied. It was my first time leaving home. I accidentally got caught in a net. I was injured and passed out, turned into a little fish. Later, a shop owner bought me, kept me in a fish tank. Then I saw you. You brought me home. I shook my head, amused. And then? And then. Once I healed, I jumped out of the tank and changed back to my real form. I can control my tail, keep it hidden, but not when I drink. So why hasn't your tail appeared yet? Shh. It'll come out when I fall asleep properly in a bit. I smiled helplessly. This girl could certainly spin a yarn. I prepared to carry her back to her room, but realized I'd left my phone by the pool. Victoria, you wait here guai obediently, okay? I'll go get my phone. As I reached the pool, I saw a message from Mom. Only then did I remember I hadn't contacted her at all recently. Talk about getting a wife and forgetting your mother. I quickly video called her. Mom. Oh, Sincere, about your cousin Victoria. Shoot, Mom forgot to tell you your Uncle Davies was worried about his daughter traveling alone, so Victoria isn't coming anymore. Aren't you happy? I froze. Cousin Victoria. Never came? Then who was the Victoria who'd been living with me all this time? I quickly hung up and ran back to the bar. But the stool was empty. I frantically asked the bartender. He hesitated for a long time before telling me Victoria had been helped away by a man. From his description, I knew instantly it had to be that bastard Ethan Goldsmith. Panic flared inside me, hot as fire. I didn't have time to ponder her true identity. That scumbag Ethan kidnapping her. I knew exactly what he intended. I sprinted towards the guest room floors, my heart pounding uncontrollably. I dashed up to the 12th floor. I knew he was staying on this level, but didn't know which room. I started banging frantically on every door, yelling for Ethan Goldsmith to come out. Suddenly a door opened. Vivian Sterling stood there, looking at me in confusion. "Sincere, what are you freaking out about? Everyone's outside, there's no one in the room." I rushed over and grabbed her arm fiercely. "Where's Ethan?" "Ethan took Victoria." "Where did he go? If he dares touch her, I'll kill him." She jumped back, startled, staring into my frantic red eyes. Understanding dawned immediately. "That scumbag Ethan," she cursed instantly. "Does he think I'm dead? Go to 1209. She pulled out a keycard and handed it to me, storming forward angrily. I realized it was the keycard to Ethan's room. Snatching it, I ran desperately towards that room. Just as I rounded the corner, I heard a blood-curdling scream. My heart clenched. The door to 1209 suddenly burst open. Ethan Goldsmith, pale-faced and reeking of alcohol, stumbled backward, shouting in panic, "Monster, she's not human, she's a monster." I charged forward, grabbed him, and punched him hard in the face. He seemed completely terrified, taking several hits before desperately struggling free, bruised and bleeding, and ran off. He collided with Vivian, who had just arrived. Vivian cursed at him angrily. In the ensuing struggle, Ethan, dizzy and disoriented, stumbled and tumbled down the stairs. My only concern was Victoria's safety. I had no time for their drama. I rushed into the room, but the sight before me made me freeze completely. In that instant, I suddenly understood why Ethan had been so terrified, because even I couldn't believe my eyes. I saw Victoria lying peacefully on the bed, sleeping soundly, and beneath the covers, extending out from her body, was a fishtail nearly 7 feet long. Its end draped off the foot of the bed, twitching gently and unconsciously. I stood there, stunned, unable to process it for a long time. Her words flashed through my mind. "I'm Vicky. I can't drink. My tail will come out. I'm a mermaid. Why would I have a foxtail? I was badly injured, almost died. You healed me. Thank you for bringing me home." I sank numbly onto a chair. It turned out everything she had said was true. I don't know how long I sat there in silence. Outside, the sounds went from quiet to noisy, then back to quiet. The sky outside the window turned from day to night, then back to day again. In a daze, I felt someone touching my face. I opened my eyes to see Victoria crouching in front of me. I looked down below her waist. The fishtail was gone, replaced by 2 human legs. Seeing my glance, her expression dimmed. "Sincere, I'm sorry." I rubbed my face, forcing myself to pull together. I stood up without looking at her. "Let's go. Let's go back first." I wasn't intentionally being cold, I just didn't know how to face her. I started working overtime constantly, only returning home after she was asleep. I heard Ethan Goldsmith was hospitalized with a concussion from hitting his head. He had some memory loss and couldn't recall how he ended up in the guest room after getting drunk, or how he fell down the stairs. That was a relief. It was best if he didn't remember anything about Victoria. After work, I bought some beer and wandered aimlessly along the riverbank. I sat on a bridge and finished the whole bottle. Below, a mother walked past with her child. The little girl begged her mom to buy her a small snack from a street vendor. The sight of her skipping away, dancing with excitement, suddenly reminded me of the girl who could be overjoyed by a single lollipop. Memories flooded back, each one like a knife twisting in my heart. I suddenly realized I couldn't let her go. I threw the empty bottle aside, scrambled up, wanting to rush back immediately, but my phone rang. I glanced at it, and my heart sank. It was a message from Victoria. It read, "Sincere, go home. I'm leaving. Thank you. Goodbye." I ran back like a madman, but the light in the apartment that had always waited for me was extinguished. The whole place was dark. There was no smiling face running out to greet me at the sound of the door, no cheerful chatter surrounding me. The warmth and laughter were gone, leaving only a deathly silence. The girl whose eyes held only me, I had lost her. I started pouring all my time into work. They called me the department's top workaholic. They didn't know I just couldn't bear facing the empty, cold apartment alone. I wanted to find her, but looking around, I had no idea where to even begin. She hadn't taken a single thing I'd bought her. Maybe she had returned to the sea, crossed the Pacific, back to her home in the deep ocean. Perhaps I would never see her again in this lifetime. My obsessive work ethic paid off. I became the top performer in the entire company during the year-end evaluation and was promoted to deputy director of my department. One weekend, while cleaning the fish tank, I suddenly found a shiny scale among the gravel. Startled, I fished it out and examined it closely. It was a pink fish scale. I abruptly looked up at the group of fish. Among the fish I kept, only that idiot little fish was pink, and it hadn't appeared for a long time. "Is it you?" I thought desperately. "I miss you so much. Can you show yourself, please?" I practically wanted to turn the entire tank upside down. Water soaked my sleeves, but there was no sign of little Pinky. Dejected, I downed another bottle of beer. Nowadays, I couldn't sleep without drinking. My phone rang and then stopped. I ignored it, just wanting to lie there quietly. As soon as the phone fell silent, the doorbell rang. I hauled myself up to answer it, surprised to see who was outside. "Vivian Sterling, you've been drinking again," she said, quickly steadying me. "Can you please stop destroying yourself?" She had been contacting me quite frequently lately. I really couldn't figure out what she was thinking. "Ethan and I broke up," she suddenly announced. She bit her lip, looking as though she'd made a firm decision. I was blind before. I didn't appreciate who truly cared about me. Sincere. I regret it. I regret leaving you every single day. Would you be willing to give me another chance? Can we start over? The person I had once given my heart and soul to was now begging to come back. But I felt no joy, none at all. People, why do we only learn to cherish things after we've lost them? She was like that, and so was I. I pulled my arm away from her grasp and gave a weary, wry smile. "Vivian, we're completely over. You're not in my heart anymore." Saying goodbye out loud felt like bidding farewell to the past. More than sadness, it was a sense of release. Her expression froze. She stood there stiffly for a long moment before finally choking out an "I'm sorry." As she turned to leave, her body seemed to sway. Closing the door, my own eyes felt a little wet. I leaned against the door for a while. The alcohol was hitting me hard. I stumbled towards the sofa and lay down, falling asleep shortly after. In a hazy state, I felt something like water dripping on my face. What kind of realistic dream is this? I reached up to wipe my face and suddenly opened my eyes. No, my hand really was wet. I looked up, startled. A woman, looking like she'd just stepped out of the shower, was leaning over me, soaking wet. Water dripped down in streams. She was wearing the same t-shirt of mine from when we first met. Holy crap, was I dreaming? I suspected I might be hallucinating from missing her too much. But her smiling face leaned closer. "Sincere, you're awake." After a brief moment of mental blankness, I yanked her fiercely into my arms, almost crying with joy. "You finally showed up. Where have you been all this time?" My hands patted her all over, just to confirm she was real. "Sincere, I never left," she murmured, patting my back comfortingly until I calmed down. "I was always with you, just where you couldn't see me. I heard you say you missed me, so I came to see you." "Don't go," I choked out, holding her tight. "Don't leave again, okay?" After she had comforted me for a long time, I finally calmed down. "Victoria," I said, taking her hand and looking at her seriously. "Will you be my girlfriend?" She beamed, nodding vigorously. Just as I was about to hug her again, she asked, "But what's a girlfriend?" Her eyes sparkled. Is it something you can eat? I smiled, gently nibbling her earlobe. Yes, I whispered softly, it's edible.